Good afternoon, everyone. I know when everything's running behind time, I know it's hard to catch back up, but this really, for me, was a real opportunity, and I'm very excited to be on a panel to talk about events both here in this region in terms of what is happening in the war between Hamas and Israel. But I very much welcome the opportunity to connect this to what is happening in Ukraine, in Russia's war against Ukraine. These are two efforts that are so incredibly important to the United States. It was just last week that Secretary Blinken was in front of the Senate, and he reiterated our enduring support for both Israel and Ukraine, two democracies both under brutal assault by actors determined to wipe their nations off the map. We see real commonality in terms of this fight and in terms of the need for the support of the United States and of the West. And so, our president, my authorities, my Secretary of State have been very clear that in the United States, we are standing up for our interests and our values, and we are not shrinking back. We are not shrinking back in the face of Russia's aggression. We are not shrinking back in the face of an intensifying strategic competition in the Indo-Pacific. We are not shrinking back in the face of terrorism and its state sponsors. And we're going to do this hand in hand with our allies and with our partners who share our values and our support for these two nations. And so for me, as ambassador here in Cyprus, the partnership we have with the Republic of Cyprus in both of these areas is incredibly important to this effort. And, we are doing so much together with President Christodoulides and his team. And it's not just about Cyprus's geographical significance, although that is, in a moment like this, inescapable. We are very much reliant both on Cyprus's geography for considering the evacuation of civilians, but we are also looking to Cyprus and Cyprus's leadership in terms of leveraging the relationships it has in the region in support of ideas like the maritime humanitarian corridor, and looking for every opportunity that we can, both to support Israel in its efforts to protect its state and its citizens, and to do so in accordance with humanitarian law, with within the laws of war, but also to make sure that we are doing everything we can in support of those civilians in Gaza who are counting on us. I would note that when I talk about partners and partnerships, that right now here in Cyprus, in Larnaca, there's about 24 nations at work together at the Zenon Center, all of whom are coordinating together. They are working in support of their citizens should there be a need for an evacuation. Cyprus has played this role. It has played this role in the past, in 2006. We, the United States, but others have also called on Cyprus many times since then. We have evacuated citizens, not evacuated, but we assisted Americans who were seeking to depart Israel several weeks ago. They came through Cyprus. And so again, I would really point towards Cyprus's leadership in this specific area. 24 nations with varying levels of capability, with varying assets to bring to an evacuation. It is really important, the coordination that is taking place in Larnaca right now. I want to be a little shorter than I plan to be, given the time, but I would just say that we have found in the Christodoulides team an incredible partner in our efforts to counter Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, to support the transatlantic consensus in supporting Ukraine. And, really from my first engagements when I arrived as ambassador, what I found in this team and in the president's office was a real commitment to working together to counter sanctions evaders, a real commitment to working together in law enforcement channels, a real commitment to working together to increase maritime security and domain awareness, and to really reverse the trend that many, I think, had found that, this perhaps dated sense that Cyprus was a place where illegal gains could find a home. And I recognize the leadership from President Christodoulides and his team in terms of squeezing that out and really making a significant turn, being part of that transatlantic consensus. We are doing so much together. We've had a real range of Department of Justice, Department of the Treasury engagements to work with bankers, lawyers, and others who, in some cases unwittingly, in other cases perhaps not, have been a part of the schemes to help hide the assets of those who are contributing, who are fueling the war, the Kremlin's war against Ukraine. And so for us, this is tremendously important. I listened very carefully to the president's remarks this morning, and he reminded us, I think, that there is a real urgency to resolving longstanding conflicts, and I think that's as true in Cyprus as it is in all of the other hot areas that we are talking about. And so for the United States part of thinking about what is happening in this region means making progress on the Cyprus question. And for us, we continue to support the Security Council's commitment to a bizonal, bicommunal federation with political equality. We have not just echoed, we are fully supportive of the designation of a UN envoy to help find some fertile ground to move these talks forward. And so, I very much look forward to our discussion, but really what I want to underscore, just to appear at the top, is that from the United States perspective, the Eastern Mediterranean remains as critical an area as it has always been as we look at these two enduring efforts, both in Israel and in Ukraine.